Welcome to the amazing world of giant machines. In this exciting video, you'll dive into a world of impressive machines, including trucks, cranes, excavators, and more. However, prepare yourself for the fact that the road can be full of dangers. You'll see these huge technical behemoths get into accidents and face unforeseen challenges. When passing on the tracks, you always have to be more careful. Suddenly, a huge train is rolling on you right now. Still, it's a challenge to control a whole tank, especially when you need to keep the balance. It's a pleasure to watch such majestic mechanical achievements, and no obstacle is beyond its reach. This could have made a good backhoe stunt, but so far it's only ended in a terrible fall. Did you have to raise it that high? Here's the result. It's scary to imagine that even the slightest design error could lead to a chain reaction and such a monstrous crash. If anyone has been wondering how the process of disposing of obsolete vehicles is done, you have a unique opportunity to look at it right now. Whoa, whoa, whoa! That's not jumping rope. The driver must have had a real adrenaline rush. Seeing such a thing in person will undoubtedly make your heart drop into your heels. Behind every large-scale construction can be no less large-scale in its collapse. The scariest thing about such disasters is the chilling moment of waiting for the unknown of further events. Did the driver fall asleep in there? It could have been a lot worse. Oh no! Look at this collision! You don't see that in your worst nightmares. Despite his driving experience, the driver of this truck was unable to handle an unexpected skid on a curve. Speed, road, and bricks. There's no work to be done here now. The drivers of such giants are very savvy. The man immediately smelled something wrong and managed to escape before something irreparable happened. Bam! It was a real shock. The truck with the logs lost control and its entire load just went flying down the road. Good thing no one was around. The tension of this moment makes everything inside freeze. But no matter how hard the driver tried, he could not avoid failure. The scariest thing about these situations is that you don't know until the last minute where that long pile of metal is going to fall. The wind straightened the crane so easily, as if it were not a massive pile of metal, but a small dry twig on a tree. A slight deviation from course, and everything goes into chaos. It's really not for the faint of heart. For such a giant monster from the world of machines, a bigger crane was needed. It's hard to even imagine how a serious breakdown could be repaired while on the water. It's incredibly creepy. Looks like real footage from a post-apocalyptic movie. These wind farms are so huge that not every crane can handle such a task. Didn't he realize in time that he wasn't going to make it? It's because of such stubborn people that terrible things happen on the roads. Everything seemed to be in place, but the cables decided to break at the most inopportune moment. It's hard to imagine the devastation of what magnitude on such a huge construction site such an oversight could bring. That's what happens when the load is so overpowering the vehicle. It was lucky that the driver managed to get out of the cab at the last moment. For this kind of operation, you need better cables. The driver must have relied very heavily on luck. Otherwise, there's no way to explain why he chose this route. Uh-oh, something suddenly went wrong here. Such utilization of a truck with the help of an excavator resembles a real horror movie. Didn't he realize the building would fall so close? It's a good thing he escaped. That's the price of loose cargo. And even in winter. When doing any transportation, you should always adequately calculate your capabilities. Otherwise, you can lose not only the cargo, but also your vehicle. Oh wow, he's been on the road for a while. That's commendable. With music like this, it would probably seem like a truck just decided to do a little dance in the middle of the road. But dancing on the road is not a good idea. And here's why. With such tall structures, it's best not to mess around too much. On such an unreliable crossing, even a normal car would be scary to drive, not to mention a truck packed to the top. Come on, a little more and the balance would have been restored. But I guess today's not his day. That's why you should always check even the most seemingly insignificant details before shipping. You have to watch the handling of such a machine near the water even more closely. Otherwise, it could end up like this. The road is merciless. An unpleasant turn with an unexpected scenario. The truck was so skidded on a curve that it failed to maintain control and went off into the ditch. This beam was so heavy that it not only snapped, but also threw an entire crane over with it. It's still very lucky that they managed to get it this far on such thin ice.
Wow.
Such a thin structure won't hold an airplane. Oops, slanted a little in the wrong direction. This video looks like some kind of roadside apocalypse. What the hell is going on here? Unfortunately, the struggle for control on the road ends badly, and the vehicle ends up flipping on its side. A truck traveling down the road suddenly lost control of its load, and massive beams collapsed onto the road, nearly hitting other vehicles. Sandy slopes are the main enemy of any vehicle. It's scary to imagine that this is all footage from real life and not some action movie. Yeah, it would seem the vessel is not small, but even that wasn't enough to stay afloat with all that weight. Now that's a terrifying power of destruction. Now it's not just a loss of goods, it's also a direct route to car repairs. Due to incorrect calculations of the workers, not only the crane was damaged, but also the house that was next to it. Even the toughest SUV would definitely get stuck in such sands. It seemed to start out well, but the wet ground does not spare even such powerful machines. The white car made it through just in time to avoid being hit by the horrible crush. So much effort put into lifting such a huge thing, and it just rolled right off into the new mess. I tried so hard to pass that I didn't even notice the front wheels flying off in the process. The machinist, although he made a mistake, was still able to steer this large threat away from the buildings without damaging them. It would seem that this dump truck could not be saved. But the master of his craft was able to successfully put it back in operation without unnecessary breakdowns. The concrete was too unstable in the face of such weight and collapsed right under the truck. It was a case of everyone working together to save this deplorable situation. both the driver and the workers inside the building. But unfortunately, today was not their day, and the loader fell flat on the ground. With such tall structures, it's best not to mess around too much. This is just a real combo of bad luck. Maybe the driver is just overworked. Even machinery can't always withstand the forces of nature. Just look at how a strong wind simply sweeps the elevator aside without any effort. The driver did not calculate his dimensions, and at such a speed, he hit the obstacle. It's lucky that everyone was unharmed. What the hell is going on out there? Everything started falling one by one, like dominoes. Was it just me, or did he do that purposefully? After all, renovations are no place for such jokes. The first pancake is always a pancake. The main thing is that the truck was finally put on wheels, although not at the first attempt. These guys have a real dusty job. Literally. Real action in real life. The sounds of a cameraman in the background are just priceless. In them, you can hear everything from pain to disappointment in life. At what point did the construction site turn into a dance floor? The technicians definitely didn't like such stunts. It's better not to breathe under such emergency structures, let alone drive a truck. Those thin cables are absolutely not suited for working that heavy. That's how it is in life. You put yourself in such an insidious trap. It seems like this guy has already regretted 1,000 times that he accidentally snagged those beams. One wrong move, and the tractor slid straight to the ground. That's tenacity. Not only did the man not give up, but also showed the highest level of ingenuity and strength. With such tricks, one can easily become an athlete. Yeah, these guys are pretty arrogant to think that they can lift this giant by hooking onto the edge of a single rope. Working on a cliff like that can really stop your heart, especially when you make such sharp and powerful movements. It's a pity for the kid. He tried so hard to jump out, but gravity landed him right in the mud. How heavy would that tree have to be to throw a massive crane over it so easily? The load was just right. Even the excavator and the tractor can barely make it. When I tried to make it neat, but it turned out the same as always. That's what distracting yourself from the process for even a tiny fraction of a second can do. A ship so large, it only took a slight bump in the structure to make the whole thing collapse. Who would have thought that this particular site was home to a hidden underground trap? People should definitely stay away from conducting such operations. Who knows how it could have ended? Being a crane operator on a construction site is a huge responsibility. The slightest mistake can lead to irreversible consequences. In this video, a tower crane fell just in the middle of a residential neighborhood. It's a terrible sight. Having lost its balance for just a little bit, this structure failed utterly in its battle with the forces of nature. It's not hard to foresee the outcome of this situation. I just wonder why the driver himself didn't foresee it. Sometimes, even the largest and most robust structures can succumb to technical failures. At such times, the most important thing is to escape from the threat in time. Although the stones are not giant, they are quite heavy. Such a load should be handled gradually and carefully. The cleanliness of the machinery certainly needs to be monitored, but clearly not in this way. Thank you for watching Smart Tech. We try to make good content for you. Every day we work for you. Video editor, screenwriter, designer, and content manager. We'll see you in the next video.